and I will introduce a little bit about the festival. We have a lovely program running through today. You should be able to see the schedule on your screen now, with a break and lunch as well. And we've got three really terrific themes to take us through today. Now, just before we start, I wanted to introduce, for some of you who are new to the festival, a little bit about us. The Festival of Maintenance is run by a community of volunteers, and we're all curious to explore how different parts of our world are maintained and cared for and stewarded. And we first came together as a group a few years ago, motivated by a shared frustration with how so much of our society focuses on making new things. And we see media celebrating the folks who build new things, or design and create new things, or set up new ventures and projects, all of which are wonderful. But often they don't realize their full value unless they're sustained past that initial energy. And because we hear so much about new things and how they're set up, we don't hear so much about how they're maintained, about who looks after them and how they go about it. And so in 2018, we held the first Festival of Maintenance in London to celebrate maintenance and maintainers, and also to start a conversation between and around maintainers and those interested in maintenance. Now, that event in 2018 was inspired particularly as a response to cultures of innovation and tech, of making, which can be very laser focused on new things. And there in London, we had an incredibly diverse selection of speakers maintaining digital things like Wikipedia. We had maintaining bodies, maintaining building facilities, people repairing electronics, talking about the community ownership and maintenance of a football club, guerrilla gardening and public space maintenance, and even maintenance through the ages with different technologies. And what we found from the conversations that day was that a lot of value lay in the overlaps and the exchanges of ideas between different fields, apparently disparate fields quite often. And so we sort of developed our focus on the practice of maintenance in different and unexpected places, and what we can learn from the similarities and differences there. In 2019, we ran the festival again, this time in Liverpool, and we deepened the conversation with explorations of maintenance and where it fitted with important big topics such as climate change and fragility. We touched on institutions and economics and where they fit with maintenance, along with talks about things like the systems that operate our buses and empty our bins, visible clothing repairs, the cost of ways of filling potholes, how communities maintain their own flood monitoring systems, and maintaining social housing. During 2020, we adjusted our name, becoming maintain.community, if you're checking out our website, reflecting the fact that we're more than just a festival, we're an ongoing conversation. And we ran some online events then with our friends, the Maintainers in the US. And despite the name, the Maintainers, they're actually a primarily academic community studying maintenance in specific fields rather than maintainers themselves. So we have a slightly different focus. We're really interested in the practice of maintenance here in the UK. And now, after a little pause, we are back with a full festival, this time taking place online. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Maker Assembly. They're sponsoring us this year, just as they have in previous years. And without their support, we wouldn't be able to run these events. And we're deeply grateful to them for coming back year after year and also providing the inspiration for us to establish the festival back at Maker Assembly itself in 2017. So 2022, here we are. We have three fascinating themes today, weaving together the practice of maintenance in very different places, and a really wonderful selection of talented speakers with intriguing topics to explore with us. Just before we get started, if you missed any of the housekeeping announcements when we started, you're welcome to chat in the chat. You'll find that you may well be called a panelist. Don't worry, that doesn't mean that you have to speak. It's just the Zoom terminology that's letting us all curate what you see on the screen, but also give you all a chance to speak as well. Please do check out the Code of Conduct if you haven't already. We try to make sure that the festival is a welcoming and inclusive space for everyone, and the link to that is in our chat right now. And do chat with everyone else who's here as well. We'd love to get more introductions in the chat. Tell us who you are and why you're here. And do, as I say, ask if you're having any technical difficulties or questions about the event. Please do post in the chat or direct message to myself, Naomi, Serena, or Jackie, and we will be able to help you out. So, co-hosts, unless there's anything else we should cover, I think we are ready to dive into the first session. This one is really close to my heart. When we started talking about maintenance, it always has a bit of an underdog feel. You know, the innovators get feted and maintainers were not. And we've tried with the Festival of Maintenance to turn that around a bit. Maintenance work can often feel undervalued compared to other things, and repair work assumes that something is broken. It's all a bit gloomy. And we maintain things because we care. We care about the future and we care about each other. Things are worth caring for and sustaining. And also, a lot of important maintenance in our world today is actually done within and by communities. And so I'm really excited that we have this session on maintaining hope, creating kinship and bringing people together. And in a time of crisis, how can imagination and hope to create kinship between human and more than human worlds? It's going to be a really interesting session, and I'm delighted to introduce Phoebe and Liz, who are going to be each speaking for a short time, and then we're going to go into some discussion and Q&A.